What if everything you believe about the economy is a lie? Not just a misunderstanding, not a mistake, but a deliberate, carefully constructed illusion designed to keep you calm while the ground beneath you slowly collapses. They told you the economy is recovering. They said things are getting better. They pointed to charts and numbers that look impressive. GDP growth, unemployment down, markets up. But if everything's so great, why does it feel like you're falling behind? Why is the cost of living rising while your income stays frozen? Why do your efforts feel like they're just enough to survive but never enough to move forward? You're not imagining it, you're not alone, and you're not crazy. You've been fed a story, one that keeps you working hard, staying quiet, and hoping for change that never comes. A story that says, just hang on, it's getting better. But in reality, while they calm the crowd with promises and headlines, the truth is being buried. The middle class is shrinking, debt is exploding, families are working 2 or 3 jobs just to keep the lights on, and all the while, those at the top grow richer, shielded, protected, and fed by the very system that keeps you struggling. The lie is not just in the numbers, it's in the message that says everything is okay as long as you don't look too closely. But deep down, you feel it. The tension in your chest when the bills pile up, the fear when your paycheck runs out before the month does, the quiet voice in your mind that whispers, something's not right. That voice is your truth, and it's time to stop ignoring it. Because the longer you wait for someone else to fix it, the more you hand over your power. You can't afford to sleep through what's coming. The signs are everywhere. Record inflation, unstable markets, government bailouts, mass layoffs, skyrocketing rents. These aren't random events. They're signals, warnings. And the people who will survive, no, the ones who will rise, are the ones who wake up now, the ones who stop believing the headlines and start trusting their instincts. This message isn't about fear. It's about clarity. It's about cutting through the noise and recognizing the patterns for what they are, distractions, because while they keep you scrolling, struggling, and waiting, time is slipping away. And when the real collapse hits, when the illusions crumble, it won't be a gentle fall. It will be sudden, brutal, unforgiving. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. In every collapse, there's a choice, a rare moment to take back control, to stop playing by their rules and start building your own. That's why you're here. That's why you're still listening, because a part of you knows you were made for more than survival. You were born with the power to see through the lie, to break free from the cycle, and to lead yourself to something greater. Most people won't make that choice. They'll keep hoping someone else saves them. They'll wait for the news to tell them it's safe. But you're different. You're not here by accident. You're here because something inside you refuses to stay asleep. And if you stay with this message, if you open your eyes fully, you'll gain something most people never will. The ability to rise when the world falls. The mental tools to turn crisis into power. The mindset that no collapse can destroy. So ask yourself, are you ready to see what's real? Are you ready to step away from the illusion and face the truth head on? Because this isn't just about the economy. It's about your future, your freedom, your legacy. This system isn't designed to make you free. It's designed to keep you dependent. But the moment you stop waiting for the truth to be delivered and start seeking it yourself, everything begins to shift. You weren't meant to live paycheck to paycheck. You weren't meant to fear the future. You weren't meant to hand over your destiny to a broken system. You were meant to rise, to lead, to create. And it starts right now with a choice. Open your eyes, break the illusion, and never forget, the people who rise after the storm are the ones who were awake before it hit. If something inside you is already awake, then you can feel it. The silent collapse isn't in the future. It's already happening, quietly, relentlessly. Beneath the surface of daily life, the system is fraying. And while most people are distracted, numbed, or hypnotized by convenience and entertainment, the cracks are widening. It's not a crash you'll see on the front page. It's not a sudden explosion. It's erosion, gradual, hidden, until one day the foundation gives way. The truth is, the collapse isn't just about numbers or the stock market. It's about how people feel in their own lives. When working full-time no longer means financial stability, when saving money feels impossible, when debt is normal and ownership is a fantasy, that's collapse. It's not waiting for a date on the calendar. It's happening every day. Someone gives up on their dreams just to survive. You don't need to be an expert to feel it. You sense it when your rent goes up, but your income doesn't. You see it when local businesses close and corporations tighten their grip. You live it when you sacrifice time, health, and freedom just to keep up. And still, it never feels like enough. This isn't just economic, it's personal. It hits your confidence, your mental health, your sense of possibility. It creates invisible chains, chains that don't rattle, chains that keep you stuck in survival mode. You start to believe maybe this is all there is. Maybe you're not meant to win. But let's be clear, that's not truth. That's conditioning. And the longer you accept it, the deeper you fall into the trap that was built to keep you from rising. The game is rigged, but only if you keep playing by their rules. What they never taught you is that real power doesn't come from the system. It comes from awareness, from resilience, from building skills no one can take from you, from learning how to navigate chaos with clarity. That's the edge, because the ones who thrive during collapse aren't the ones who had the most comfort. They're the ones who built the most courage. Look around, people are waking up, quietly shifting, changing how they think, creating new streams of income, investing in themselves, cutting dependence, taking ownership because they realize no one is coming to save them. And that's the most liberating truth there is. When you stop waiting for a lifeline, you start building your own. This moment is not just about economic fear. It's about choosing who you're going to be when the world gets uncertain. Will you break or will you break through? Because collapse doesn't just destroy systems, it reveals character. It strips away illusion and exposes what's real. It separates the distracted from the disciplined, the passive from the prepared. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Comfort creates weakness. Growth only lives where pressure does. And right now, pressure is rising. But that's not something to fear, it's something to use. Because under pressure, coal becomes a diamond. And under crisis, ordinary people become unshakable forces. This is your time to sharpen your vision, to rewire your mindset, to train yourself to see through manipulation and scarcity and start creating abundance from the inside out, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Because if your inner world is strong, nothing outside can collapse you. Yes, the world is shifting, but you don't have to be afraid of the fall. You can be prepared for it. You can be stronger because of it. And when others are frozen, you'll be in motion. When others panic, you'll lead. That's the path forward, not to react, but to rise. It starts by rejecting the narrative of helplessness. It starts when you stop waiting for approval and start acting on truth. It starts when you ask yourself, if everything crashed tomorrow, what would I have? What would I know? Who would I be? Because that answer, that preparation, is what gives you peace now. It's what gives you power when others feel powerless. Don't mistake quiet for safety. Don't mistake normal for secure. The world has changed, and pretending everything is fine won't protect you. But owning the truth, facing the fear, and moving with purpose, that will. That's what builds unshakable confidence. That's what turns pressure into fuel. That's what separates those who crumble from those who conquer. This is not about doom. This is about decision. You can choose to see this time as a warning or as a weapon. You can use it to break down or to break free. Because in the end, it won't be the economy that defines your future. It'll be your mindset, your discipline, your action. The question is no longer if the system will fail you. The real question is, will you finally rise without it? If you've made it this far, you already know. You're not meant to follow the crowd. You're meant to lead yourself to freedom. And that journey is just beginning. When the old systems fall, something greater is born, not outside of you, but within you. Collapse isn't the end, it's the clearing. It's the fire that burns away what's weak, fake, and hollow, so that only the strong, the real, and the ready remain. And right now you have a decision to make. Will you rise from the ashes of this broken system, or will you let it bury you under its lies? The world doesn't need more fear, it needs more strength. Your strength. The kind that doesn't come from titles or wealth, but from discipline, vision, and relentless inner work. The kind of strength that can't be manipulated by the media, shaken by markets, or destroyed by uncertainty. Because real wealth isn't just about money, it's about mindset. And the most powerful currency you can hold in a collapsing world is the belief that you are not dependent, not helpless, not a victim, but a creator of your future. That kind of power doesn't wait for the world to change. It changes with or without permission. It starts preparing when others are still pretending. It invests in learning while others waste time in denial. And most importantly, it doesn't just survive chaos, it becomes the calm within it. There is something unshakable about a person who has chosen to prepare, someone who has trained their mind to reject noise and focus on the signal, someone who has traded comfort for clarity. Because when you stop expecting the system to carry you, you discover your ability to carry yourself. And that moment, when you take full responsibility for your life, is when everything changes. This isn't about doing it all overnight. It's about committing to no longer being passive, to stop scrolling through distraction while your future waits, to stop wishing for easier times and instead become the kind of person who thrives no matter how hard things get. Because the truth is, strength isn't built when things are easy. Strength is built when you're uncomfortable, when you're uncertain, when you're scared, and you move anyway. Most people will wait until collapse knocks on their front door. But you're choosing to face it now. To get ahead of it, that's what leaders do. They don't follow comfort, they follow truth, and they act before others even see the storm. That mindset is rare, it's powerful, and if you protect it, grow it, and fuel it, there is no collapse that can stop you. So what does rising actually look like? It looks like cutting through the noise and studying what matters. It looks like building skills that can't be outsourced or automated. It looks like managing your money, controlling your emotions, and mastering your habits. It looks like sharpening your mind every single day so that when the lights go out, your inner fire stays lit. It's not flashy, it's not glamorous, but it's real, and it works. The people who will rise through this collapse are not waiting for good news. They're becoming the good news. They're not hoping someone will fix it. They're building what comes next. And that's exactly what you're being called to do. Not just survive the storm, but use it as the very reason you become the strongest version of yourself. This world doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who move. And the beautiful thing is, every small action you take now adds up. Every decision to learn, grow, adapt, invest, and prepare, it compounds, and eventually it separates you from the crowd, not because you're lucky, but because you were bold enough to act when others froze. So let them sleep, let them mock, let them deny what's coming. You stay sharp, stay focused, stay grounded in truth. Because when the fog clears, when the illusions are gone, and when the system can no longer hold itself up, the world will look for leaders. And they won't be the ones with the loudest opinions. They'll be the ones who saw clearly when it was hardest to see, the ones who prepared, the ones who rose. You are not powerless, you are not too late, and you are not alone. Every second, you choose growth over comfort. You step into a future built on strength, not fear. This is your moment to rise, not just for survival, but for something far greater, freedom. Not the kind of freedom they promise with slogans and speeches, but real freedom. Freedom of thought, freedom of direction, freedom of creation. That's the reward for those who choose to rise now, before the dust settles. So stand tall, decide who you're becoming, and remember, the system might be collapsing, but you are just getting started. Everything you need to rise is already inside you. Not in the future, not after the chaos ends, but right now, in this moment. The world has taught you to look outside for strength, for security, for solutions. But real power never came from governments, banks, or broken promises. It comes from the moment you stop waiting and start becoming. This is the mindset that separates survivors from leaders, the mindset that turns collapse into opportunity. And once you truly understand this, fear loses its grip on you, because you no longer see uncertainty as a threat. You see it as fuel. You begin to realize that the breakdown of old systems is not your downfall, it's your permission. Permission to rebuild life on your terms. Permission to become so mentally, emotionally, and financially unshakable that nothing outside of you can dictate your future again. This is your edge in a collapsing world, your ability to think clearly when others panic, your ability to act with purpose while others freeze, your ability to create value when others cling to survival. That's what gives you the advantage. Not status, not followers, not applause, that preparation. Self-leadership. Grit. A mindset so strong it can't be shaken by external noise. And make no mistake, there will be noise, there will be distractions, fear campaigns, manufactured outrage, manufactured hope, all designed to keep you reacting instead of rising. That's why discipline matters now more than ever. The discipline to stay focused on what builds you, to protect your mind from chaos, to invest your energy in things that make you stronger, smarter, and more resilient. You can't control the economy, but you can control your economy. You can control what you read, what you watch, who you listen to, how you spend your time, and where your attention goes. That is where freedom begins. And most people will never tap into that power because they're too busy trying to change what they can't control, but not you. You are done outsourcing your security to a system that was never designed for your success. You are done hoping that things will magically go back to normal. Normal was the lie. Normal was the comfort that kept people blind. Normal was the trap. What comes next will belong to those who are bold enough to create their own path. And creating that path means doing the work no one sees. The early mornings, the late nights, the quiet decisions, the invisible battles in your mind. That's where the real transformation happens. It's not loud, it's not easy, but it's worth it, because while the rest of the world waits for the storm to pass, you're building the foundation that will stand through it all. You've already proven something rare. You're willing to face truth. You're willing to look discomfort in the eye and still move forward. That alone makes you part of a very small group. The few who will not just endure this era, but define it. There is no perfect timing, no magic signal, no one coming to give you permission. This is the time, this is the window, because once the collapse is complete, the rebuilding will begin. And the question is, will you be starting from scratch or starting from strength? What you do today is the answer to that question. What you choose to build inside your mind, your skills, your discipline, and your financial intelligence. These are not just habits. They are weapons, shields, tools for liberation. The future will not be given, it will be earned. It will be taken by those who stopped wishing and started working, by those who rewrote their story when the world told them to stay silent, by those who didn't wait for the light, they became the fire. And maybe that's exactly what you were born for, not to fit into a broken mold, not to conform to a collapsing system, but to rise as a new kind of leader, quiet, focused, relentless, someone who walks through the ashes of what once was and builds something stronger in its place. This is your time to reclaim control, to plant seeds while the world watches dust fall, to sharpen your tools, strengthen your mindset, surround yourself with truth and discipline, because when the dust finally settles, the world will not go back. It will look for those who never left the fight, and you will be ready, because you chose the path of power, because you did the inner work when no one was watching, because you understood that collapse is not the end of the world, it's the beginning of yours.